Do you want to speak English fluently in just 30 minutes? Yes, you heard that right. 30 minutes? But how is it possible? It's almost too good to be true, isn't it? Imagine standing in front of a crowd or talking to a group of people, and suddenly the words come out effortlessly in perfect English. It feels like magic, but I promise you it's not. Stick with me for the next few minutes, and I'll share with you a story that will change the way you look at language and communication forever. Have you ever felt nervous when speaking English? Have you ever been in a situation where you wanted to say something but couldn't find the right words? Or worse, you didn't have enough confidence to speak? Maybe you've tried practicing but still couldn't get it right. Well, this story is for you. Let me take you back to a time when I was just like you, scared of speaking a language that seemed so difficult to master. I was in a new city, and I had to speak English all the time. I felt awkward. I was scared to make mistakes. I worried that people would judge me. One day, while I was sitting in a cafe, I overheard a conversation between two people. They were speaking in English, and I couldn't believe how natural and confident they sounded. It was as if they had been speaking English their whole lives. But here's the twist. One of them wasn't a native speaker. She was from a country where people spoke a completely different language. I was stunned. How was it possible? How could someone speak English so confidently, without hesitation, without worrying about mistakes? I felt a surge of curiosity. I wanted to know how she did it. So, after their conversation ended, I gathered all my courage and walked up to her. "Excuse me." I couldn't help but notice how amazing your English is, I said. "I've been struggling with it, and I really want to speak like you. Can you share your secret?" She smiled at me warmly. "There's no secret," she said. "It's all about practice, but most importantly, it's about changing the way you think about English." Her words hit me like a thunderbolt. Changing the way you think? What did that even mean? She went on to explain something that I'll never forget. She said, "Most people think that speaking English fluently means memorizing a lot of grammar rules or vocabulary. But that's not true. Fluency is about being confident, not perfect. It's about thinking in English, not translating from your native language. And the key is to make English a part of your life." At that moment, something clicked in my mind. The problem wasn't my lack of grammar knowledge. It was my lack of confidence. It was my fear of making mistakes. But here was the big revelation: it was okay to make mistakes. In fact, mistakes were part of the process. They weren't something to be afraid of, they were something to learn from. I asked her, "But how do I start? How do I change my thinking?" She told me something even more powerful: you don't need to spend hours studying. In fact, you can start speaking English fluently in just 30 minutes if you know how. I could hardly believe it, but she had a plan. She said that in the first 30 minutes of speaking, you could achieve more than you would in hours of traditional study, but it all depended on how you approached it. Here's what she shared with me. 1. Stop translating in your mind every time you think in your native language and then translate to English. You slow yourself down. Instead, try to think directly in English. It's like switching on a new mindset. The more you practice thinking in English, the more natural it will feel. 2. Learn phrases. Not words alone don't help you communicate effectively. What really matters are the phrases you use. Think about common expressions, greetings, and questions people use every day. These are the building blocks of fluent speech. 3. Speak. Speak. The only way to get better at speaking is to speak. The more you talk in English, the easier it will become. Don't wait for the perfect moment or the perfect sentence. Just start speaking and don't be afraid to make mistakes. 4. Focus on communication, not perfection. Fluency is not about speaking perfectly, it's about being understood. If people can understand you, you're doing great. Keep the conversation going and focus on getting your message across. 5. Use technology to your advantage. Use apps, online videos, podcasts, and even voice assistants to practice speaking. The more you surround yourself with English, the more natural it will become. As I listened to her, I felt a spark of excitement. This wasn't some complicated method. It was simple and practical, and I could start right away. And you can, too. So, how did my story end? After that conversation, I practiced every day. I made mistakes, I stumbled over words, but I kept going. Little by little, I noticed a change. I started to think in English. I stopped worrying about being perfect. I embraced my mistakes as lessons, and over time, my confidence grew. Within a few months, I was able to have full conversations in English without fear. I felt proud, not because I was perfect, but because I had learned to enjoy speaking without holding back. And you can do the same. Imagine yourself, just 30 minutes from now, speaking confidently in English. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be real. Your journey toward fluency starts with a single step. Speak, even if it's just a few words, but speak with confidence. The more you practice, the more fluent you'll become. And soon, you won't even notice the difference. It will just feel like a part of you. And that, my friend, is how you speak English fluently in 30 minutes. This isn't a magic trick or a quick fix. It's a mindset shift. It's about embracing the journey, not focusing on the destination. Every step forward counts, and each word spoken is a victory. So, the next time you feel nervous about speaking English, Remember, this fluency is not about perfection, it's about progress. It's about the courage to speak, the confidence to learn, and the excitement to keep going. As you take that first step into the world of English, you'll start to feel a transformation, not just in your speaking skills, but in your mindset. It's as if you've unlocked a door, and beyond that door is a world full of new possibilities. Imagine being able to have a conversation with anyone, anywhere, without hesitation. That's the power of speaking English fluently. But it all starts with action. Now, let me share another crucial element that often gets overlooked: motivation. You need a strong why to keep pushing forward. What is your reason for wanting to speak English? Is it to travel the world, to advance in your career, or to connect with new people? Whatever it is, keep that reason close to your heart. When you have a purpose, the journey becomes much easier, even when it gets tough. I remember a time when I was struggling with my own motivation. I wanted to speak English fluently, but I felt like I was running in circles. I wasn't improving as fast as I hoped. But then I asked myself this simple question: why do I want this? The answer came to me clearly. I wanted to connect with people from different cultures, understand different perspectives, and open doors to new opportunities. That realization reignited my passion. Every time I felt discouraged, I reminded myself of my why, and it kept me going. So, as you embark on this journey, ask yourself, why do I want to speak English? Your answer will be your fuel. But motivation alone won't get you to fluency. You need to develop a consistent routine. Consistency is key. In the same way that a plant needs water every day to grow, your English skills need daily practice. This doesn't mean spending hours at a time. Even just 15 to 30 minutes a day can make a huge difference. And remember, it's not about cramming information or memorizing endless lists of words. It's about actively engaging with the language. Find ways to incorporate English into your daily life. Watch English movies or TV shows. Listen to English podcasts or songs. Read books or articles in English. Surround yourself with the language, and you'll start to notice patterns and phrases that will help you speak more naturally. Another powerful technique is shadowing. Shadowing means mimicking what you hear. When you hear someone speak in English, repeat what they say immediately, trying to match their tone, rhythm, and pronunciation. It's like training your mind and mouth to speak in sync. But let's be honest for a moment. No journey is without its challenges. There will be times when you feel like giving up. Maybe you'll make a mistake that makes you feel embarrassed or frustrated. But here's the thing, these moments are your greatest teachers. Every mistake you make is an opportunity to grow. Think about it, some of the greatest speakers in the world made plenty of mistakes along the way. The key is to embrace them, laugh them off, and keep moving forward. Perfection is not the goal, progress is. I once spoke with a man who had spent years learning English. He wasn't a native speaker, but he was fluent, and he spoke with such confidence. I asked him what the secret was to his success. He told me that the biggest lesson he had learned was to stop being afraid of mistakes. You'll never be perfect, he said, but you can always improve. And that's enough. Isn't that such a freeing thought? The pressure to be perfect can be overwhelming, but when you let go of that fear, you open yourself up to real growth. Fluency isn't about speaking without error, it's about speaking with confidence and clarity. The next tip I want to share with you is one that can completely change the way you approach speaking English. It's called deliberate practice. This means you focus on the specific areas you struggle with and work on improving them. Are you having trouble with pronunciation? Focus on sounds and repeat them until they feel natural. Struggling with sentence structure? Try to practice building sentences out loud. Remember, it's about making small, consistent improvements. This kind of focused practice will lead to faster results than simply practicing in a scattered way. And here's something I want you to truly understand: fluency doesn't happen overnight. It's a process, a journey that takes time. But don't get discouraged. Each day that you practice, you're getting closer. Each word you speak, each sentence you form, is another step toward fluency. So, let's put it all together. The first step is to stop translating and start thinking in English. Then, practice speaking as much as you can. Use technology to immerse yourself in English and focus on phrases that are commonly used in conversations. Remember, you don't need to be perfect, just communicate clearly. Stay motivated by keeping your why in mind and commit to practicing every day, even if it's just for a short time. And finally, embrace mistakes as part of the learning process. They are not failures, they are stepping stones. With all of these tips, you'll be well on your way to speaking English fluently. But here's the best part. It's not just about language. It's about the confidence you'll build, the doors you'll open, and the new relationships you'll create. Speaking English fluently will not only change the way you communicate, but also the way you see the world. Now, let me leave you with one last thought. English is not just a language, it's a bridge. It's a bridge that connects people from all corners of the world. A bridge that allows you to share your ideas, dreams, and emotions with others. When you speak English fluently, you're not just speaking a language, you're opening up new worlds, new experiences, and new opportunities for yourself. So, are you ready to take that first step? Are you ready to embrace the power of English and speak with confidence? Remember, it only takes 30 minutes to get started. After that, you'll be amazed at how far you can go. And the journey doesn't end here. Each time you speak, each time you practice, you'll move one step closer to fluency. You'll feel a sense of pride and accomplishment. You'll realize that the only thing standing between you and your goal was the courage to start. So, don't wait any longer. Speak English today and watch as your world opens up in ways you never imagined. The road to fluency may seem long, but every journey begins with a single word. So speak now, and let English be the key that unlocks your future. Do you ever wonder how it feels to speak English fluently? To express yourself without hesitation, to understand every word, and to talk with confidence? Imagine standing in a room full of people, speaking English as if it were your first language. Can you picture the joy, the excitement, and the sense of accomplishment? But what if I told you this dream is not as far away as it seems? What if I told you that every one of us can speak English fluently, with enough practice and the right mindset? I'm sure many of you are thinking, but I struggle with my English. I make mistakes. I can't speak as fast as others. I don't know enough vocabulary. Well, you're not alone. I've been there. Let me tell you a story that may just change the way you think about learning English. Once upon a time, there was a young man named Alex. He was a hard-working student, but no matter how much he studied English, he couldn't speak fluently. He spent hours in front of books, memorizing grammar rules and vocabulary. He tried watching English movies, listening to songs, and even reading aloud. But still, when it came to speaking, he froze. His mind would go blank, and his words would stumble. Alex was frustrated. He thought he would never speak English fluently, just like his friends who seemed so confident. One day, Alex decided to meet his mentor, a wise old man who was known for his incredible wisdom and experience in learning languages. Alex poured his heart out, explaining his struggles. The old man smiled gently and said, "Let me tell you something important, my young friend. Fluency in a language is not just about knowing words or perfect grammar. It's about the courage to speak, the will to keep going even when it seems hard, and the patience to allow yourself to make mistakes. Fluency is a journey, not a destination." The next day, the old man took Alex to a small cafe. There, he introduced him to a group of tourists who didn't speak Alex's language. The challenge was clear. Alex had to speak English with them, even though he was nervous. At first, Alex was hesitant. What if they didn't understand him? What if he made mistakes? But the mentor's words echoed in his mind. Fluency is a journey. With a deep breath, Alex started speaking. He made mistakes, of course. He stumbled over some words, mispronounced others. But something amazing happened. The tourists didn't care about his mistakes. They appreciated his effort, and they started to talk with him. Alex soon realized that fluency didn't mean speaking perfectly. It meant communicating with others, sharing ideas, and being brave enough to speak, no matter what. After that day, Alex practiced every single day. He spoke with anyone who would listen. He joined English clubs, watched movies without subtitles, and kept speaking, even if it was just to himself. Over time, his confidence grew. The words started flowing more naturally, and he began to speak faster. Alex no longer worried about making mistakes. Instead, he focused on expressing himself, and fluency followed. Now, you might be wondering, what's the secret to speaking English fluently like Alex? It's simpler than you think. The secret is practice. The more you speak, the more fluent you become. The key is to stop being afraid of making mistakes. Every mistake is a lesson. Every conversation is an opportunity to improve. When you practice speaking English, you're not just memorizing words or learning grammar. You're training your brain to think in English. The more you practice, the faster your brain will adapt. Your thoughts will start forming in English, and speaking will feel natural. The words will flow easily, and soon you'll be able to speak without even thinking about it. It's like learning to ride a bike. At first, you wobble and fall, but with every try, you get better. You build muscle memory. And one day, without realizing it, you're riding the bike effortlessly. That's exactly how speaking English works. Now, let's talk about some tips that can help you become fluent. First, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Mistakes are part of the process. They're the stepping stones to fluency. If you're speaking and you make an error, just laugh it off and correct yourself. The more mistakes you make, the closer you are to success. Second, listen a lot. Listening is just as important as speaking. Surround yourself with English as much as possible. Watch English movies, listen to podcasts, and pay attention to how native speakers use the language. Notice the rhythm, the intonation, and the way they form sentences. This will help you understand how English sounds and how to speak it naturally. Third, practice speaking every day. You don't need to wait for the perfect opportunity. Speak to your friends, your family, or even strangers. If you can't find anyone to talk to yourself. Speak about your day, your thoughts, your plans. The more you speak, the more confident you will become. Fourth, be patient with yourself. Learning a language takes time. It's not something that happens overnight. But with consistent practice, you will see progress. Every small improvement counts. Celebrate your victories, no matter how small they seem. Lastly, stay motivated. Set goals for yourself and reward yourself when you reach them. Maybe your goal is to hold a 5-minute conversation in English, or to watch an entire movie without subtitles. Whatever it is, keep challenging yourself. The more motivated you are, the easier it will be to keep going. And remember, you are not alone on this journey. Everyone who speaks English fluently once struggled with it. Even the greatest speakers and writers of the language had to start somewhere. They didn't wake up fluent. They worked hard, made mistakes, and practiced every day. You can do the same. So, are you ready to start your journey toward fluency? The road might be long, and the path may seem difficult at times. But every step you take brings you closer to your goal. Every word you speak adds to your confidence. And one day, you'll look back and realize that the fluency you've dreamed of is no longer a dream, it's your reality. Now, imagine yourself speaking English fluently. Imagine the confidence, the freedom, and the opportunities that will open up for you. Fluency in English is not just about speaking well, it's about connecting with the world. It's about expressing yourself, sharing your ideas, and building relationships. The world is waiting for you to speak. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Start speaking today. Practice every day and never give up. Fluency is within your reach. The only thing standing between you and your goal is your willingness to keep trying. You've already taken the first step by deciding to learn. Now, take the second step, start speaking. Speak to everyone you meet. Speak to yourself. Speak to the world. Every conversation will make you stronger, and before you know it, you'll be speaking English fluently. I promise you, it's not as difficult as it seems. The journey is exciting, and every day brings a new opportunity to improve. So take a deep breath and speak with confidence. The world is waiting to hear your voice. As you take those first steps, I want you to remember one very important thing: perseverance is key. It's easy to get discouraged when things don't seem to improve quickly. It's natural to feel like you're not making progress, especially when the journey seems long. But let me remind you, every expert, every fluent speaker you admire, they've all faced moments of doubt. What makes them successful is that they didn't give up. Even when it felt hard, they kept going, day after day, and slowly their confidence grew. Imagine, just for a moment, the countless opportunities you will have when you can communicate fluently. Whether it's in your career, while traveling, or when making new friends, speaking English fluently will give you the power to open doors that may have once seemed closed. It will connect you to people from all around the world, allow you to experience new cultures, and give you the tools to understand new ideas and perspectives. But here's the thing, fluency isn't just about speaking well, it's about thinking in English. When you reach the point where you no longer translate from your native language to English in your mind, you'll know you've reached a significant milestone. This is when you stop pausing mid-sentence, wondering how to say something. You will start to think, dream, and even feel in English. This is when the magic happens. So, how do we get to that level? How do we train our minds to think in English instead of always translating? One powerful tool is immersion. Surround yourself with English as much as possible. Watch movies, listen to podcasts, and read books in English. Try to learn new vocabulary from what you see and hear. But, more importantly, don't just passively engage with the content. Pause the movie and repeat sentences aloud. Try to mimic the accents, the speed, and the tone of the speakers. This will train your mouth and mind to naturally form sentences in English. Another important tool is speaking regularly, even when you're not sure of your vocabulary or grammar. Let me tell you a secret: nobody speaks perfect English all the time. Even native speakers make mistakes. The key is to be fearless. The more you practice speaking, the easier it will become. You will start to notice patterns in the language, and soon enough, you will be able to use them without even thinking. Sometimes it might feel like you're not progressing fast enough. But remember, fluency is a marathon, not a sprint. Just like the small steps you take when learning to walk, or the practice it takes to become a good musician, your progress in English is built on consistency and time. Keep speaking, keep practicing, and in time, you will see improvement. As you grow more confident, you will also notice that speaking English will become a natural part of your daily routine. You'll start using English to express your thoughts, your feelings, and even your dreams. It will no longer be something you do only during language lessons. It will be something that's part of who you are. Fluency will become an extension of your personality. But don't stop there. Keep challenging yourself. Try speaking in more complex situations, such as when explaining your ideas or opinions. Engage in debates, discussions, or even give short speeches to a small group. Each time you do this, your fluency will improve, and your ability to express yourself will grow. One powerful tip is to think in English as much as possible. For example, when you are walking down the street, try describing your surroundings in English. I see a big tree with green leaves. There is a shop selling colorful scarves. The sun is shining brightly. This exercise helps you think directly in English instead of relying on translation. You'll begin to form simple sentences without even realizing it. Your brain will start to process information in English, making it easier to speak fluently over time. I understand that at times you might feel like giving up, especially when progress seems slow. But let me tell you this: never underestimate the power of persistence. Every small step you take brings you closer to your goal. If you practice just a little bit every day, whether it's speaking for 5 minutes, reading a paragraph, or learning 5 new words, that effort will accumulate over time. 1 year from now, you'll be amazed at how far you've come. Every time you speak, whether it's to a stranger or to your reflection in the mirror, you are improving. Each conversation, each sentence, each word that you speak builds the confidence and skills necessary to become fluent. Even when you don't notice it, your brain is absorbing everything you expose it to. Be kind to yourself. Celebrate your progress, even if it seems small. Now think of this journey not just as a way to learn a language, but as a way to connect with the world. Every time you speak in English, you're opening doors to new friendships, experiences, and opportunities. English is not just a tool, it's a bridge that connects you to people from different cultures, backgrounds, and walks of life. It's a way to be part of a global conversation, to share your thoughts with the world, and to understand the thoughts of others. Are you ready to continue on this journey? I believe in you. The path to fluency is not always easy, but with dedication and practice, it's more than achievable. It's a gift. You're giving yourself a gift that will stay with you for the rest of your life. The ability to speak English fluently will open up endless possibilities. So, take a deep breath. Speak with confidence and enjoy the journey. The world is waiting for you to speak your truth. Never stop practicing and never stop believing in yourself. You are capable of so much more than you think. Keep practicing, keep speaking, and never give up. Fluency is within your reach. Keep moving forward, and soon, you will realize that speaking English isn't just a dream. It's your reality. The journey might take time, but every moment is worth it. Keep practicing, and one day you'll look back, smile, and realize just how far you've come. Fluency is not just about speaking perfectly, it's about speaking with heart, with confidence, and with the courage to keep going. So, start now. Speak today. Speak tomorrow. Speak every day. Let every word you say bring you one step closer to your goal. You can do this. The journey is yours.